What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Average Bob, and in today's video, we're going to touch on a few things in Giants Nation. Also, talk as much as we can about the upcoming Ravens game Sunday afternoon at MetLife Stadium. So first and foremost, let's just dive into it. It seems obviously the season's been over really before it even got started. So I think where I wanted to get started is just talking about the future of Brian Daboll and Joe Shane. And if they're coming back, right, as the weeks progressed, as time went on, maybe like a month or two ago, you had John Mara say they're both going to come back this year, but a lot's changed since then. They've lost, I think, 8 straight games, sitting at 2-11, fighting pretty much for a number 1 overall draft pick between us and the Raiders. So it's really a combination of I think the culture is just so bad since year 1. There was significant drop off in year 2, not competitive. Then in year 3, in a team that Joe Shane and Brian Daboll had kind of their mitts on in building, has completely gone off the rails to the point of absolutely no return. And I think it probably will cost them their jobs. And it's not like the Giants haven't had opportunities to fix issues, improve the team, especially through the draft. And they swung and missed on a lot of picks and guys that just haven't developed properly. And that's what I don't really understand is, if it's a coaching issue, or did the scouting staff just overlook issues that people had previously and they weren't that good to begin with. And, that was probably a huge knock going back to when Daniel Jones was originally drafted. A lot of people obviously hated that pick. Has a good season in 2022, 23, tears ACL, 24, unusable, cut when he's making $40 or $50 million this year. So I wonder if you could go back in time, if Joe Shane, I think he would obviously do stuff differently, but I think the reason why they made the ultimate decision with Daniel Jones is because in that first year, I actually went back and watched some of the highlights from that Vikings playoff game because it looks so different. The O-line was pretty bad then too, but Daniel Jones looks like a completely different player than he was then. So, and the Giants weren't good enough to have a top pick in that draft to take a quarterback that they wanted. So they figured the path of least resistance would be just continuing to just build on the season that we had with Daniel Jones as our quarterback, sign him, but have a massive opt-out after the 2 years is up. And that move obviously completely blew up in their face completely. And, I think that is probably enough for them to not come back over, especially Joe Shane. And there's been other opportunities for them to bring in other players, and they made the trade for Burns, who, his first year on the team, the defenses looked pretty bad. He looks decent, but it's really hard to judge anyone at this point because everything was so bad. And you like to take positives from a season, if you can, but as a Giants fan, everything along the board was historically bad at levels that I don't know if we've seen since maybe the 70s or something. And I don't know if hopefully we never see them again. And that's one thing that even in the 2022 season that always bugged me a little bit was the offense never really did too much. And really, I don't think the Giants offense really has progressed into this new era of football, even from the last Super Bowl onwards, where you had, an aging Eli and, Odell would have good games here and there, but it's not like the Giants have ever been, I feel top 5 or even top 10 of that in scoring in a scoring-based league. So I think first and foremost, we need a quarterback. I don't think it's going to be a bridge one, and if they're high enough to take Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, I think it's an absolutely no-brainer for the Giants. It's just a matter of, do you want Joe Shane and Brian Daboll making these decisions and letting them, because then you're going to have to give them time to train and build this quarterback, whoever they do take. And do we trust them to do that with what they've done so far in 3 full seasons? I don't think so. So then what's the point of having them still around right now? And would it be possible to even get someone else? Not from a head coaching perspective, that's always after the season, but I think from a front office perspective, if you don't want Joe Shane coming back, then the decision's already made. The writing's on the wall. Just move on from him. Is it going to take losing by 40 points to the Ravens at home this weekend, the straw that breaks the camel's back, so they finally do this? I don't know. But it should be an absolute beatdown this weekend. And now everyone's hurt on the Giants and checking out. And I honestly don't blame any of them in a season that's really lost. If you're not fighting for a job next year, why would you risk any potential long-term impact to your body over a 2-11 team when the Ravens are steamrolling opponents? And maybe, I don't even want to say they want revenge for 2 years ago when we beat them at home at MetLife Stadium. And I think that was a funny stat too. And sorry for getting a little off track here, but Daniel Jones was the only NFC quarterback to beat Lamar Jackson, which is absolutely hilarious. Anyway, shake that out. I think he's like 19-0 or whatever, maybe not 19. I don't know, but he's a significant portion of games. Daniel Jones was the only guy in the NFC to beat him. But I think back to my point is, do we trust Joe Shane to make this call in the draft? And then let's just play devil's advocate for a second here. Say we bring back Dable, bring back Joe Shane, and run it back completely with them. And what happens when the Giants start 0-3 right off the season and you're starting your rookie quarterback and he looks like shit? Like, people are going to be demanding them to be fired. Is it better off now to cut bait with both of them and start fresh from a cultural perspective of the team? And just so, like, what message does it send if they both come back? And, you know, it seems at this point losing is completely tolerated. So then that means nothing's going to change. I guess just saying it and thinking out loud means that they both have to be gone, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. You know, it's been a rough 2 years now. And somehow the season still has some games left. And, you know, going back to before the season started, I would say beating the Colts would be a winnable game. Beating the Falcons could potentially be winnable too. But I don't really wish us to win many more. I'd rather at this point, you know, see what we can do with getting the number 1 or number 2 player in this class off the board, and how that looks and shakes out, time will tell. Anyway, that was a beginning 7-minute rant. Let's jump over to Reddit mailbag. Me after seeing that field goal get blocked. Just a classic meme there. At the game, someone paid a plane to fly this around. I saw this as well. Mr. Mayor, enough, please fix this dumpster fire. Quick story for you. I was traveling for work this week, and saw a lot of the Giants front office guys on my flight, which was absolutely hilarious. I was thinking about if I even wanted to say anything, but whatever. Who gives a shit? It's funny. So like, I'm like sitting down in the airport, and John Mara walks by me. I'm like, I think that's John Mara, but I was like, maybe I'm just seeing something from just being, I don't know, PTSD'd by the Giants this entire season, and everywhere I go, I see his face. So then I'm walking on the plane and sitting first class. Like, sometimes I'll just look around and see if you recognize anyone, and just making direct eye contact with John Mara. I'm like, this is so awkward. I don't know. I can't, obviously, like, I'm on a flight. You don't want to say anything to anyone, but I'm just like looking at him. He's looking at me like, oh, this is so awkward. But yeah, there is my funny little Giants story there. Giants field goal blocked, Saints win. Yep, I think that's how everyone felt. Browns have waived Kadarius Toney. What a tumultuous career for Kadarius Toney. I mean, once he got cut by the Giants, went to the Chiefs, and you had Travis Kelce be like, I can't believe they let this guy leave the team. And then I don't know how many teams has he been on since then. I guess at the end of the day, we have to always kind of respect Kadarius a little bit, just for the fact that he had a role in the Chiefs beating the Eagles for that one Super Bowl. But yeah, really weird guy. He was always really weird. Another egg in the face of Joe Shane's draft there. I think that was his first, and they traded back. Remember, we could add Devontae Smith. I don't think that was Micah Parsons' draft, but I could be completely wrong there. Maybe it was. But again, classic Giants. Love these two. Yep, that was sad. Week 13 of demanding them be fired. They post that every week here. Felt like this was meant for us. If your NFL team is badly wrong, getting the number 1 draft pick won't help. So this is a very interesting thing because, yeah, if you look at teams that are just perennially drafting in the top 10, like the Cleveland Browns, like the Carolina Panthers, there's so much high-level dysfunction that would actually makes me concerned about the Giants doing it at this point in their, I guess, like era of the team and organization. Is the data shows we are, if not, I think it's the Jets and the Giants are probably like 2 of the worst teams over the last, I don't know, I guess 15 years, give or take. So outside of the one Giants Super Bowl, kind of looking at like a bottom of the barrel organizational standpoint. So yeah, it's kind of like what the Panthers do. If you just throw this guy out there and tell him to start from week 1, there's a big jump from college to the NFL. Like even a guy like Eli Manning sat behind Kurt Warner for a number of weeks when he first was drafted. And now they just expect these guys to play week 1 and trial by fire. And if you can win, great. If not, then you'll probably, like the Jets, right? You'll just be bad enough again and you'll just repeat the process. So first and foremost, it's a huge part of nature versus nurture. Some of them have the nature to do it themselves, but a lot of them have to be nurtured as well. And Drew Lock, if he was a croc. Yep, a lot of misses. There was also the other day, they said they went 0 for 17 in against or in practice. They were 0 for 17 passing, which is kind of insane to think about because it's practice. And then they also went like 0 for 4 on like routes against air, so there's no defense, and whoever is playing quarterback couldn't complete a pass to a wide receiver who's not covered. Or it's actually, like, any way you cut it, it is literally unbelievable how bad it is. And the more I think about it, you got to get, those guys can't come back. Like Neighbors hearing for the first time about the plane overhead calling for the dumpster fire to be fixed. I didn't pay for that plane. Yeah, they really set these guys up for messed up questions. And, you know, no one really, it seems like in the Giants organization, got to Malik Neighbors and ever coached him up on how to deal with the media. But hopefully they're able to do that with whoever plays quarterback next, because Malik is not polished in any way, shape, or form. And I think it's it will eventually be to his detriment and to the anger of Giants fans at some point. Giants spared Eli Manning from riding the subway during his playing days. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, worth a lot of money. You don't want anything stupid to happen to him. But again, yeah, there's always been issues with people on the subway. I mean, you know, I don't have to go off about anything regarding that. But also, Eli probably didn't ride the subway too much anyway because they all live in New Jersey. So whatever. Or they just take cars. The Giants are 14-point underdogs at home. Now it's up to 16.5. After losing their first 7 games at home, the Giants are in jeopardy of becoming the first team in NFL history to go 0-9 at home in the single season with 2 games left. Sunday versus the Ravens, that's a loss. And then the 28th versus the Colts. So, yeah, the Colts could easily beat them too. And that's where we'll end it on today's show. Thanks for watching, folks. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, drop them in the comments, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Have a great weekend, y'all.